What's up everyone, James here, and I bring you the sequel to not only one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made, but also in my opinion, the best in the franchise. I present to you Terminator Judgment Day's sequel, Terminator Metal. Each issue in this series will deliver a standalone story set after the events of Terminator Judgment Day during the brutal future war against Skynet's machines. This first issue focuses on Percy Dalton, an engineer who has reprogrammed a Terminator he has named Tex. He records a mission log, and through it we learn about him and how he came to reprogram a T-800. He says, "The machines first attacked us just before I was born. I've spent my entire life trying to understand them, how they work, how they think, how they adapt. I've learned so much, but one cold truth remains. They will not stop until we are all dead." Thankfully for us, we can adapt too. A year ago, this new T-800 model was brought into my lab. For months, I examined every part of him and was ultimately able to reprogram him. Since then, he's been an incredible asset to the Resistance. More than that though, Tex is my friend. I like Tex's name and how he has a painted on red slash over one of his optics, signifying he's a part of the Resistance. Now, Percy makes no mention of whether it was he who helped reprogram the T-800 sent to the past in Judgment Day. Two other things I'll mention now about this issue are, first, whereas the T-800 in Judgment Day kind of became a bit more human by the end of the film and grew a bond with John Connor the more time he spent with him, that's not the case with Percy's T-800 Tex, and you'll see what I mean by the end of the video. Second, there will be no mention of John Connor and his whereabouts. Currently, Percy and his squad are battling some of Skynet's machines. Percy, Tex, and their squad were on a specific mission, and we'll find out what that is in a second. A hunter-killer aerial machine drops a payload on top of them, and they get caught in the blast. Percy luckily survives it and pulls himself out of the rubble, calling out to Tex. At that moment, a damaged T-800 approaches, mere seconds away from blasting him, until Tex takes it out. Percy thanks Tex and mentions how he's losing track of how many times he has saved him. Tex responds that he calculates 21 times. He asks Percy, "Is the device secure, sir?" Percy answers, "Yeah, completely undamaged." He asks Tex to scan for any survivors of their squad, and he finds only two signatures half a click away. They find two guys here, not a part of their squad. The one who's familiar with Percy, his name is Cooper, and his partner who's injured, his name is Amos. Initially, Amos pulls a gun on Percy when he sees Tex with him, but Percy tells him he's a reprogrammed T-800. Spoiler alert, Amos is going to be an annoying jerk in this story. When Percy asks if they got caught in the blast, Cooper answers that they did and that they were doing recon when the machines showed up. They're the last of their squad and were on their way to base to get Amos a medic. Percy explains that they were also on their way to base, that he and his squad successfully raided a Skynet facility and are now trying to get the data stick in his possession to base ASAP. Cooper tells them his and Tex's mission is their mission now too then. Amos gets suspicious and points out how he and Cooper were on recon for hours before the machines attacked and received no intel about the machines in the area. Percy responds his squad received no intel either and that Tex usually is good at warning them, that the machines seem to have come out of nowhere. Amos ends up accusing Tex of tipping off Skynet. Tex interrupts their conversation, telling them all that they have to keep moving before Skynet discovers them, and he points out how the intel they got from the facility is only actionable for 3 hours. So they're kinda on a time limit. Amos tries to say he's not taking orders from a robot, but Cooper tells him that Tex is right, they need to keep moving. As Cooper and Amos follow behind Percy and Tex, we do learn a bit more about Percy because Amos asks Cooper details about him. Cooper tells him that Percy has always been an odd one, a guy who gets computers more than people, but assures him he's a good guy, and that they need people like him because his work on reprogramming T-800s has been invaluable. Amos mentions that he still doesn't trust them and that Percy is weird for naming his T-800. Coopers agrees it is, but does tell Amos that Tex has saved a lot of the Resistance. Later, Tex brings up to Percy his concern about Amos currently slowing them down, and asks for permission to rectify it, and Percy hesitantly does. When Tex approaches Amos and grabs him in order to carry him, that's when Amos freaks out, cursing at Tex, demanding he get his hands off of him. Percy tries to de-escalate the situation, telling Tex to stop and assuring Amos he's just trying to help. Cooper calls out to all of them to get it together, and that's when Tex freaks out, warning Cooper he's outside of his scanning radius and that the danger is exceedingly high. He tells him to hold his position, but it's already too late. Cooper triggers a hidden explosive and he's donezo. Amos yells at Tex saying, "Why didn't you warn him?" Even though he did, Tex only replies, "Insufficient time." He tells Amos and Percy they need to find an alternate route. The alternate route he suggests is this skyscraper that looks like it can collapse at any moment. Amos refuses, telling them there has to be another route, but Tex informs him that there isn't because all the other routes have significant machine presence. Amos starts accusing Tex again of secretly working with Skynet, trying to kill them. Percy calls him out and tells him he's being ridiculous. He says, "Tex isn't trying to kill us. Are you, Tex?" Tex answers, "Negative. My mission is to return the Skynet files to Central Command." Percy says, if he wanted to kill us, there's plenty of easier ways. Amos ends up making a fair point. He replies, "And what if there aren't? What if this is the only way it can do it within its programming?" Amos tells them he isn't going with them, and when he begins to walk away, that's when Tex grabs him, saying, "No, because if the machines find you, it could endanger the mission. You must continue with us." Amos fires his weapon right in Tex's face. Percy pulls his gun on Amos, threatening to blow his head off if he shoots his friend again. Amos calls him insane for calling a machine his friend. Out of nowhere though, Amos gets blasted. A couple T-800s have found them. Percy fires at them and he's able to take out one of them, but the other lands a shot on him. Just when it's about to kill him, Tex plunges his fist through it. Percy, relieved to be saved by him again, asks Tex to help him up, mentioning that there are probably more on the way. Tex analyzes his body and his programming determines he's lost a significant amount of blood and his injuries are fatal, calculating that it would delay mission completion. Tex says to Percy, "No." Percy replies, "Come on, pal, stop messing around." Tex says, "This is not a joke, sir. You have a 13% chance of survival, and if I waste time attempting to rescue you, the probability of mission success drops 10%. Percy replies, "You can't leave me here." Tex says, "I'm afraid it is necessary, but do not worry. I will ensure the files are returned to base. The mission will be completed." He walks away, leaving Percy to die. That's the end of the video. I don't know when they plan on revisiting this story, if they even intend to, because the next couple issues, the descriptions of them have been released. The second issue will focus on a Skynet human labor camp, and the third on a T-800 found in the 1800s. In the meantime, if you want more Terminator content, check out my video of when Terminator crossed over with the Transformers. Other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember every day to go beyond.